My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, but I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Nunas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Jessie.
I'm Natalia,
And I'm Sky.
and it's a trio today.
It's
We're just
us.
it's a little new, new configurations of the trio. Amanda's sick, so
Yeah.
she's just not feeling good. So it's fine.
That's fine.
It's cool.
I'm
It's
also
all
going to
good.
be disclaimer. I'm just on my headphones and at my parents' house, so
You
there
sound
might be
you
some
sound
weirdness.
fine to me. So let's.
I'm hoping that I remember just to mute so you don't hear me breathing all the time. That's what I'm most worried about. I'm also in the basement, so you can hear people above me.
as we always say, if you do hear it, no, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
Okay, don't worry
talk
about it. So I have like a question for just the world in general. Do you like aliens?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do
Yeah.
you like stories about cults?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
What if I told you there is a show you can watch right now on Netflix that has both? That's right. We're talking about Glitch.
And it's only 10 episodes.
It's only 10 episodes.
It's a little shorter one.
It's a little digestible niblets of deliciousness. So Glitch, we're talking about Glitch today, and you're like, wow, they're usually a little more on the ball. Listen, we know it came out in October, okay?
Listen,
But
listen.
we were on vacation in October, so
Things happened.
Things happened. Life happened. You could be quiet right now.
Stop it.
You know,
Stop it.
We don't need to hear it.
We always knew we were going to talk about Glitch.
Yeah, we've been, and you know what? We have been like teasing that we were going to talk about Glitch. I think,
well, because
for
I
a while.
binged it like the weekend it came out, and so I brought it up at least on that, like what we're watching episode, whatever one that caught on.
Definitely talked about it on our one of our first episodes of like the year of 2022, because right now we're in 2023.
Yes. Well, okay. Full disclaimer: when we're recording this, we're still in 2022. When you're hearing this,
time travel thing,
2023. There's like a few days delay between recording and publishing, but this is
But for the 2022, when we were talking about like the dramas that we were excited for, Glitch was on my list.
Now, let me tell you, when this came out, I wanted to binge it, okay? But I was like, Natalia, don't do it. Because wait till you have a date of the episode and watch it close to that, so that it's fresh in your mind.
I should have
there.
Yeah.
So I watched it on Christmas Day. I watched it Glitch.
I watched it, like I said, that weekend. Pretty much, it came out, and I was like, I felt like I was in some like little jail cell, like rocking back and forth going, I wish that Jessie and Natalia were done, because I really
can't say anything. Because this show is like,
because I even just wanted to be able to say,
you wait so
I know, we're such assholes.
The main thing I really wanted to say, and it wasn't even going to be a spoiler, but it was spoiler enough that I was like, I wanted to say, guys, it's about cults a lot. Like, I really wanted to say that.
Because let me tell you, you don't find out it's about a cult
for
a couple episodes. And there was nothing in the description or the marketing that would make you think a cult was coming.
You could probably think about it. Like, if I had actually like sat down and thought about it and be like, But like, they just showed it, and then we were like, "Hey, alien cult, here you go."
And you're like, "Oh shit!" Okay, so
I needed this.
Before we get too deep into it, this is a spoiler episode, so if you haven't seen Glitch and plan on seeing it, maybe go watch it before listening to this episode.
I will say the main content warning is, if you can't handle cult stuff, don't watch it.
Yeah, like
there is also a suicide, like a depiction. So
mentioned, yeah,
like you see it, like
yeah.
So, just as a warning going in, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah,
and like oddly, that we don't really get in dramas, especially you wouldn't have expected in Glitch. There are guns.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, like, there are guns.
That could be something that like someone would not want to watch, and they wouldn't be expecting it in a K-drama, but guns happen.
Especially even if you look at the poster for Glitch, you wouldn't expect these things to necessarily pop up. So that's why we're mentioning hey, these things are in it. If those are like big no-nos, that's a no-no.
And it, like, the description of it tells you nothing of this.
The description is nothing.
The description gives you zero about what you're about to
nothing
encounter.
Like the show, but it is. Like, everything it says it does.
I will say, if you just watch the first episode or two, and if you stop, like if you just
you will have no idea what you're about.
You will probably imagine a completely different show.
Yeah.
Than what it is.
Absolutely.
Now, does that mean that it jumps the shark? No. It fits.
Yeah, the show is great. And we're going to talk about it today on this episode of The Certified Nunas.
I guess we should start with, like, okay, the first episode or two, what kind of did we deal with? We dealt with the main character who is struggling with a variety of things in life.
Mm-hmm.
Including seeing aliens.
Yeah, like, she believes herself to be incredibly mentally ill.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And she's in sort of a loveless relationship with this poor sap of a dude.
Kind of working at a job she's kind of about.
Yeah, that she got because her dad got it for her. Living with her dad and her stepmom.
Mm-hmm.
Just meandering through life in a fog, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But then them aliens, though, they won't release her from their grasp. She sees an alien everywhere she goes.
With a baseball helmet.
Yes, with a baseball helmet from a baseball team that doesn't exist anymore. Baseball team from the early 2000s.
Yeah. It's something we find out that has been a reoccurring thing for her in her past, because she then goes to see her old psychiatrist when she was young, her, like, the children's psychologist. She goes to see him and is like, hey,
I'm still crazy.
Reoccurring, and
please help.
It's coming back full force now. I'm like seeing him in the convenience store.
And he's like, that's not great. That sounds tough.
So then, as far as what glitch is, like, so on top of just these, like, sightings of aliens and pretty much interactions with them on some level too, is what it feels like. She encounters a couple of large glitches on electronics, like be it a cell phone from her ex ? Boyfriend that she finds, or she's in a room with, like, a lot of computers, and all of a sudden, like, they all glitch, and, like, they're talking to her, and it's obvious that it's supposedly the aliens. So, like, it's this.
Yeah. And she's also, like, glitching in her own mind. Like, she loses time.
Yeah.
And doesn't remember what she's been doing and ends up in weird places. It's not great. She then befriends a cop. Like, okay, I gotta say this for the cop character. You know, there's, like, he's not, like, a stupid or bad cop. He just has no idea what he's getting into, and that's
in his driving force is that he has a crush on her.
Oh yes,
so, like,
absolutely.
That's why he
square one.
Yeah, and, like, which is sort of funny,
but, like,
because, like, when they meet, it's because he thinks she's about to kill herself and is completely insane, but he's into that.
Well, and automatically you're going, dude, no. Like, no. It makes you wonder if he has crushes on, like, many of the people that he deals with when he's
he seems like a poor soul. I actually really liked his character. Like, he's just lost, confused, unsure of what's happening.
Endearing. He was trying very hard.
Yeah. So her boyfriend, well, ex-boyfriend, because they break up after he asks her to marry him, and she's like, I can't do this.
And he's also gotten a house too, because they do kind of, like, bring up all these, like, very big, significant, like, life choices,
life events,
so that, like, you can kind of portray it as maybe possibly that's what's, like, helping with this. Like, she's having kind of, like, a psychotic break because of all these, like, major life events kind of happening to her, and she's not ready.
And so he goes missing, and she's like, she goes to where she thinks he is, because she tracks him down on his Find Your Friends on his Apple phone, on his Apple Watch, and finds the watch, but not him.
And then that glitches.
And then there's all these bugs that form a crop circle, essentially, that only she can see. And when she tries to take a picture of it, they all fly away. And then she's like, I need to contact the experts.
I will say, up to this point, I thought what was fascinating about how her character was portrayed, it felt very, very realistic in the fact that she never wanted to say out loud, even like really the word alien. She was trying her best to avoid that, what she was dealing with mentally. She was like, she kept on saying, I know this isn't real. Like, and I thought that was a fascinating thing. Whereas I think in a lot of shows about a character like this, from square one, they're like, "Hey, everybody, I'm seeing." She
like,
was
the weird
very
person. Yeah,
she was keeping it to herself, very close to her.
She was really trying to like not give in. She was like, she was really kind of like trying to make herself like not believe what was happening, and like kind of force herself to be kind of back into the reality of the world and being perceived as like a normal person, but also getting her voice heard, which I think was like the most fascinating about this show is that even though it's labeled a comedy, it's not a comedy at all. Like, even when you see this, like the character of the alien, which is very comedic, it's never done like in a way that's comedic. You can tell like her fear and her like anxiety around seeing this thing around.
It's like this inescapable thing, and she's like, no, I don't want this to be happening. And I actually just really enjoyed those tones. Like, I really liked how they handled those things because it felt how a real person would like, it felt like a very real reaction to that type of stuff. And I really appreciated that aspect of her character.
Like, we're not saying the show doesn't have funny moments, because it does. And there's like comedic
but they're
characters.
Short.
Yeah.
But like as a comedy, I would not label this as a comedy. I think it gives it like the show a disservice too. Like, I would not want someone coming in thinking this is comedy, because you're not going to get that in this show.
And that's why even when you look at the poster, you're like, oh, cute looking alien, because like it's not like a super scary looking alien. It's,
like if you were looking at this poster, you would think it was like
Alf, you know?
Like you know, like two women like go searching for aliens and find an adorable alien life form, and then you very quickly into the show are like, no, this is about mentally ill people. Oh no.
I do think that the topic of mental illness, though they don't like delve super deep into that for her, like as far as diagnosis or anything, I still think they handled it pretty well. Like, I don't feel like they ever really mishandled it. It was
and I think it's largely due with what you kind of see as the series progresses. She has this PTSD of this event that happened that you start to see slowly, because they show it as a flashback of the two main female leads who, like, when they're younger, there's a thing that happened, and so you're kind of seeing it as more of like a PTSD kind of thing, where she's like blocked it, so she has all these unanswered like things in her mind and block because of this one big thing that she knew happened to her, but she really doesn't have a recollection of.
So as things progress, she goes to an expert, and then from there she online discussion board, kind of through a variety of things, finds a little clue, which leads her to like, hey, there's this in-person meeting, and she gets up the nerve to go to an in-person meeting in this bar restaurant place
to meet a real cast of characters who are exactly what you would expect to be at a UFO meeting, and they are so like, I don't think this show could have hired better actors for these weirdos, and like, but not like weirdos like weirdos said affectionately, like they're weirdos, but like so you have well, of course, Nana playing Hyobora, who turns out to be,
I will say, her character that's in this UFO group, she is the character that's like, she's too cool to be here.
So she turns out to be her old friend from middle school that was there when she was abducted the first time, who she is blocked out of her mind because dealing with the fact that she was abducted as a child was the catalyst for her current issues. Then you have Lee Min-gu playing Kim Dong-hyuk, who plays this little, like, basically, like, 20-year-old who's way younger than everyone else, but is really just passionate about UFOs and wants to be their best friend. And then you have Park Won-suk playing Philip, who it's exactly what you would
Captain
picture.
Prince.
No. This is not him. We're not here yet.
Sorry.
We're talking long hair. We're talking goatee. We're talking exactly.
The names are very similar.
That's true. We're talking exactly who you would expect to be the leader of a UFO club.
It's dead on. If you're picturing it in your brain, that's
like if you're like whatever you're picturing, that is him.
And then you have serious about what he's up to.
Yeah. And then you have my man. I was literally, when I saw him appear on the screen, I was like, oh, he's in this. Tae Wong-suk playing Captain Prince, the beefcake ex-Marine who now runs a cafe, but is also passionate about UFOs as well.
You just know that he gives really good hugs. That's the thing about him.
He looks like his hugs would be so warm and nice. Like, oh.
I think back up also, because I don't think we said it, the main lead is played by Jung Yo-bin, who everybody knows. But then her boyfriend is Lee Dong-hui,
who's also incredible in this. Like, the cast in this is really fantastic. Fantastic. If you don't know who Tae Won-suk is, he was in The Player. He played the big dude in Arthdal Chronicles. Like,
that guy.
He's that guy.
He kind of is very close to what he is in Player, except just an alien.
Like, just
that's okay.
I always love looking at his roles because, like, up until recently, they were always like guard, large man, large gangster, guest detective, like just, and then you get to like The Player, and it's like, oh yeah, he's the main fucking dude. He's the big dude in The Player. He's the big dude in The Player. Anyway, I just really like him and was so excited when he appeared. And do you know why I really like him? And this may be just purely just because he is so unusual for a Korean actor. It's like he's a Madung Sukian character, like he's a big, beefy dude, and not beefy in like, oh, I go to the gym and like have no, I'm talking he's a big man. He's a big man, like, because there's a difference between like gym muscles and like big strong dudes. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's a big strong dude, and that is his role in this show, and he is so good. I was like, okay, if they don't have him just open palm slapping someone to the ground in this show, it is a waste of a casting. But don't worry.
Don't worry, it comes.
Don't worry. He open palm slaps a few people. Don't worry about it. Like,
I was concerned for a while because, like, his character is of the level, like, he's not all the time, a little screen time here and there whenever something's happening with the UFO group, but it's, he's not one of the main.
And he's never like really portrayed as like their bodyguard or anything. He enjoys the thing.
It's literally just like he wanders into a fight and is like, "What the hell is going on here?" Like, absolutely not. We are not doing this. You can't beat up my friends. But he's so effortlessly funny. Like, sorry, I'm going ahead because I'm just thinking of the scenes.
A tangent on Just Our Love.
I'm just thinking of the scenes. Like, there's like this one scene where they're breaking into a compound, and like, he's so effortlessly funny that I just think he's absolutely fabulous, and you should all go support him because
this is Natalia's love break.
Listen, there's like certain guys that I'm just like, like a lot of the times when I say like, oh, someone's a smoke show, I say that from like sort of like an art and photography point where I'm like, this is an aesthetically beautiful person who looks good in photos and like draped across settees or whatever. Okay, that's not Taewong Suk, but like he could be draped across my settee if you know what I mean. Hey you, hey you. I just feel like he could lift me very easily, you know, with those big strong arms, you know.
I mean, he
like,
probably could. Like,
he definitely could. Like he definitely could.
Okay.
Moving on.
onward.
So what I like about as far as you get into the UFO group and then you start having definitely encounters between the two lead ex-best friends from childhood and all this. So I do like the fact that it wasn't like automatically like, hey, nice to see ya. You know, they're dealing with a lot of
it was kind of like revealed to you
problems.
like because she doesn't know. The main lead is because she's blocked this memory and it's been so long. They were like young kids. She doesn't remember her. So it's very like you're kind of finding it out when she's finding it out. Like, so it's not like they like already like are butting heads because of the incident that like drew them apart. She like legitimately doesn't know that she's part of the group at this point.
Right. And then you can imagine how the other character would feel about that, as far as like you're looking at your ex-best friend and she's not recognizing you.
Yeah.
But you don't even know it's not really recognition. You figured that she's ignoring. So that's a completely different vibe. As far as machinations, like, so then we start getting into, they kind of get some tip-offs about like, hey, this organization, let's go check out this organization thing. And I actually did really like the scenes where they go, it's not when they're like full on infiltrating quite yet, but they're kind of trying to, when they try to be like, what is up with this stuff? And I will say some of that was a little comedic. But it was pretty fun.
It reminded me, so when they go, when it's Nana and the other guy, when they go to like finally go to like the meeting and the doors open and they like go into the like the main hallway, it reminded me of the episode of What We Do in the Shadows when they find the vampire cults. Do you remember that?
Yes.
It's like exactly like that.
Well, because when I watch the few cult shows that I watch, like I'm always interested in like kind of the front face of the cult, as far as where the initiates kind of see the happy side of whatever's going on. And so, and as someone who is raised in something similar, it's interesting to see like that type of stuff, because you kind of see like, oh yeah, people being happy and like
they're happy and opening and respectful and like
they're
warm,
they're singing,
like, this is
they're
exciting,
dancing,
this is really
they're
nice.
having wonderful they're, you know,
refreshments. Like,
just like a quick aside, I was not raised in a cult, but once for some reason my mom is very Christian, but like not in like a culty way. Like she's a United church member, like they're the hippies of the Christian world. But one time they were like, she took me to this like Christian music performance, and I was probably about 16, and she took my then boyfriend and me, and I was sitting here, and I don't think a cult would ever get me, because when I tell you, when I was like looking around at everyone like singing and like praising Jesus, I was like, this is the creepiest I was like, I gotta go. Like I literally was like, Mom, I can't. Like I gotta fucking get up and get the fuck out of here. Like these people are creepy. Do you not see how this is creepy? And then I literally just like got up and walked out, and everyone was just like watching me leave, and I was like, no. No, like y'all about to start speaking in tongues. I'm out of here. And it's so uncomfortable to watch, even in fiction for me, where I watch it and I'm just like, ugh. And so this show did that very well, like showing the.
Well, it was also surprising too. Like I really didn't catch on that it was going to become a cult. Like it really was kind of just like all of a sudden, oh my gosh, we're in a cult, and it is actually about aliens still. It's not even like we were tricked into it being a cult and then the alien thing kind of just was the catalyst to be there. It's like still ingrained in everything. So that was like very surprising and very interesting to me. Like we got to that point, I was like, oh, this is a cult show. And I like, as soon as I did, I was like, look
like,
at us, we picked it.
You're like, I came here for the aliens. I'm staying for the cult.
I personally, like, literally just watched this, like, yesterday. I sat and watched it all, and knowing that we were going to do this, and I was like, we did this again. Look at us.
We did
Natalia and I
it.
are again on a
did
cult
it.
show. Spoiler
No,
episode.
we love us some cult shows. We don't love
Well,
cults.
that's
We're
why-
anti-cult.
that's
Love them shows.
Whenever I hit that part of the show, I was like, oh, I want to say something, but
I know. It must have been
spoiled.
killing
yeah.
you. It must have been
for months.
killing you for months
Oh, yeah,
to say
because
nothing.
Because I wouldn't have even said anything past that. I just wanted to say, you guys, it has a lot of cult stuff in it. That's all I wanted to say.
It's the cult stuff. It's the cult stuff.
But that twist, it was a twist.
Yeah.
Like, and so you have to let people. I mean, obviously, if you're listening, obviously, like, hopefully you've watched it, or you don't plan on watching.
Yeah,
it.
or you don't plan on watching because you don't
yeah.
really care. You just love listening to us talk. So welcome.
But I
either
will
way.
say, if you ever talk, like, so if someone hasn't watched it and you think they might be interested,
don't tell them it's about a cult.
Don't spoil that
stuff.
unless you think it's a trigger point. Other than that, let them figure out that twist.
It was such a delightful.
I really I was so into it. I was like,
because with these things, it can, like, usually they go either like you find out aliens aren't real and she was just mentally ill, which is like the sad ending because you're like, oh, she's just really mentally ill, and that's really sad. Or you find out there's some government conspiracy, which is fun. But when it's a cult, oh boy. Now I have to say, so this was written by a man named Jin Hansei, who is a nepo baby of the writing world. He is. His mother is the writer of Healer and Faith, and also Sandglass, which in 1995 was a big deal.
Yeah, she's like known as like writing the 2 most popular dramas in K-drama history.
Yeah,
like and it was like right out the gate.
Yeah.
And I saw them and I was like, oh, we should try to figure out some of the older ones from the 90s.
And he's only written 3 things. One was like a web drama called Irish Uppercut, which I haven't seen.
Oh yeah, it's this.
That's on my list for this year sometime.
I'm pretty sure Amanda has seen it. Oh, possibly.
Well. Then he wrote Extracurricular, which is a wild show.
I haven't seen it yet. I don't.
It's another Netflix one, and I guess Netflix. That's one about high school students who become drug dealers, essentially. And then he wrote this, so I feel like Netflix is like, oh, we like this little nepo baby.
Which is also why, if you liked Extracurricular, a lot of the cast is in this cast.
Yeah.
Well, one character I do want to bring up, and because it's been a couple months now for me, looking at the cast list on MDL, I can't pick which one it is, but essentially it is the guy who at first, when they are kind of starting to look into this cult meeting situation, and there's this guy that, like, the Nana character gets found out that she was videotaping. Like, it's all this very intense thing, but then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this guy's like our contact to get more information. Like, that was a really fascinating twist.
He's played by Ko Chang-suk, and he's looking for his daughter.
Okay,
so
I thought that was the one, but the fact that they only so they're like, oh, his character name is Kim Chan-woo, church member, and I'm like, you could have said more than just church member.
Well, I think that they're purposely doing that because, like, the entire time you never know if he is actually for or against them. Like, every single time he's like up, you don't know if he's going to hurt them or take them back or help them. Like, it's constantly you're trying to figure it out. And I think that's probably why they labeled him. I would assume that someone on MDL was like, let's not spoil this.
Let's not give away with, like, his and I also have to say that I do love that. So Baek Joo-hee was fantastic in her role as the public face of this cult, but they have her listed as value realtor.
Yes,
because that's how you first meet her.
Yeah, one of the things that happens is the show, she's trying to find what happened to her boyfriend because she doesn't believe he's gone. You find out later that he bought a plane ticket to leave, and everybody just believes that he's so crushed that she decided not
Broke up with
to
him. Yeah.
like marry him, and he had just gotten this lease on this place for them together, and so it's this whole thing. And so she then goes, she kind of has this like realization, because she starts to like team up with Nana's character and is like, we should figure it out. And she realizes at one point that like all of his stuff had moved out really quickly. So like if he just left, how did that happen? Like that just seems weird. And so she tracks down the realtor, who is the face of the cult.
And then
I really liked that scene of
witnessing this weird cult meeting that happens in the apartment. Oh my god.
Well, the thing is, because you're sitting there going, like, what the crap's gonna happen? It's like,
because
oh my
they
gosh.
like found the energy was weird, because they always have the like the detector, you know, the like thing, you know, that like picks up on
the scale,
electromagnetic stuff, you know, like if you've seen any sort of like alien thing, that thing. And so they're like, oh, this is perfect. And they had been in that like in that apartment, because it's the old apartment or whatever, and so they're trying to figure out what's like, if there's anything left of the boyfriend, which, spoiler alert, his cat is the only thing left, which Nana's character is very much afraid of. So they like witness this like blessing, or like it's just some weird cult.
It's just like some weird cult shit. Just weird cult shit. Just them all chanting and singing and putting on a little disco ball, and you're just like,
you know, it reminds like fuck? It's, you know, there's they're the turtles that have the lights in the back of them, and it like it's for little kids. It's like it's a stuffed animal turtle, and then in the shell it has like all the like places for the lights, so then when it projects on, it's just like pinpoint like lights.
See, I used to, when I was younger, I was like really into like astronomy, and so my dad had gotten me like, it was basically a light stick, but in the ball had all of like the constellations you could see and where on Earth you could see them, so when you turned it on, it would like project the constellations like onto your ceiling. And
this is more of like, I think it like has like, you know, like more of like I think it plays something, so it's like for little kids when they're going to sleep type thing. Yeah, but
it has that like moving lights and like little, and you're just like, oh boy.
And meanwhile they're like crammed in a closet trying not to be scared by the cat. Oh,
it's
something. And
but so from then on, it's like, crap, this is a cult. So then they had to go try to go to the meeting, and then from there it's like they have to keep trying to figure out like what the crap is going on. And it's the progression of that, like I can't convey. It was all very satisfying. I thought the way it unfolded, the pace that it unfolded at felt logical. It made like, yeah, this would be how you would eventually figure it out. And as far as how they would ever infiltrate or anything, seemed decent.
Like this,
like none of it seemed like, oh, you could never do that. It's like, maybe, like, sure.
Everything that they do was very within the realm of reality.
Yeah.
Like, well, okay. Everything that the characters do, not the story. A lot of it is outside of the realm.
I was just meaning the main character's investigation and the steps, like the revealing of the story of the cults. Like, I thought that was very well done, the way it would unfurl. Like, I thought that was good.
I mean, like, it kind of follows any cult that you've ever seen, too. It just that this cult has the level of, like, the aliens and, like, you know, wanting to...
Not even that unfamiliar in the cult world.
Yeah.
Like,
but, like, it has, like, a lot of stuff that, like, is kind of realistic in a way that I think, like, especially, like, Koreans would get in, because there's such a, like...
There's a lot of cults in Korea.
There's kind of a big problem. That's why you see them a lot in dramas, is because it's actually fairly common.
It's a well-known social issue that's currently plaguing Korea.
Which you see, like, which plays out a lot, because there's, like, points where, like, you can see that the police force in that area is kind of almost, like, paid off is, like, part of the cult and stuff. So you kind of, like, see those parts and how they are infiltrated, because then you have, like, every once in a while you have the cop, the original cop who has the crush on her. He's coming back to kind of, like, figure out more things and later on with her friend from her coworker friend.
Oh my gosh, she's such a delight.
They kind of just like
such
go off and do like their own like investigation.
They're having like a little like buddy cop show on the side.
Okay, her coworker friend person seemed a little obsessed with her. I am gonna give you that.
Listen, I will say a lot of lesbian vibes in this show.
but they never they never made it like, oh, let's talk about romance.
No. There's literally no romance in this show. But there's
some vibes.
There's tension there, like there's a little vibe going on between the two main characters.
All I wanted to say about that coworker friend was like, I don't think that she's aware how obsessed she is with her coworker friend.
I kind of think that they're like mostly trying to like play her off as she was her only like real friend, and then also like probably they were closest to each other in that like very boring job, and so she's like, I need you to not be like quitting this job. You are my friend. We sit beside each other.
When you have a work bestie, they are your lifeline.
Yeah,
that is a thing.
Yeah,
and if that person goes away, you are screwed.
But it like led to some really great like moments between her and that girl.
I used to work
around.
I used to work at a pharmacy, and when my work bestie quit, I quit.
Yeah.
Like, no, absolutely not. Like, he left, I was gone. I was like, I'm not sticking around this shithole for anyone.
Probably like,
ooh,
I didn't even remember.
Pay me minimum wage.
Very many females in that office too, so she was probably like, please don't
leave. The director of this, also a woman who hasn't really directed very much, but did direct one of the SF8 specials and a couple movies that she wrote. But yeah, this is like her first full length.
It's a pretty newer.
She did great.
Team, yeah.
So eventually, and not to like go way into all the cult stuff, but eventually, like at the cult thing, like it intensifies, like levels up, and then it all, it culminates into pretty much the main event of what was supposed to be pretty much a suicide plot.
Yes.
Also that you find out that her character, the main female's character, is the messiah of the group.
Except that what I love about this is I don't actually think she was. So basically how this cult works is that there's a literal woman with dementia who you find out has been woven in because she was a UFO abductee victim from the 70s, but she is now an old woman with dementia and mobility issues, but she draws things, and everything she draws are like gospel to this cult. But then they break into her house at one point, and then the main character like talks to her and gives her fruit, and then the next day she draws the main character's portrait, and everyone's like, oh, it's the Messiah.
Well, I think that's the thing, because they never had the Messiah, like they never knew who it was. It was like that she was supposed to just, or they were supposed to just come, and so finally it did, like in the form of this portrait.
Except that it was probably just a woman with dementia drawing a woman who gave her a piece of fruit and talked about the children's show she was watching with her. Like, and so oh my God, this show is so good. Like I feel like it's one of those things where I feel like when you're describing it, it comes out sounding worse.
Oh yeah,
than it is. Because I'm like, you don't understand it's so good.
It's so good. Even discussing like I don't know how many episodes of near the end of the show, as far as all the cult intensification stuff. Like it's fascinating and it's interesting, but to break it all down, like it doesn't do it service really. So like, you just have to watch it.
You just have to sort of watch it. But like, if you're listening to this, we're gonna probably assume that you have watched it, so you already know how good it is. Anyway, so then there's an alien, was the alien real? Is she just insane? These are all left up.
Is it all a mass hallucination?
Was it a mass? Was it all just like a drug-fueled we don't. This is left to your
I mean,
interpretation.
it's like almost like it's like yes to both sides because there
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
they find out that they were being drugged. Like that's how they were
Mm-hmm.
getting the people because there was a lot of times they were pumping out like fog, and the fog
Yeah,
was
for atmospheric fog. That was just, it was
it
drugs.
was drugs.
It was hallucinogenics. So the cult was a drug cult that
But no,
run by
nobody
a
was, like,
crazy man.
actually wanting to take those drugs. It just happened to them.
Yeah, and then like it's just, and then it's like it's so good. Just like when that dress that they had her in, like
Yeah.
everything about it is so perfectly done.
What's perfect about the show is that it's really quirky and wacky, and
Yeah,
it keeps that up in this very
weird.
realistic tone.
Yeah.
It's like everyone in it is weird, but everyone in it is weird in a unique and believable way.
Yeah, it's not like they're playing like a caricature weird. Like
Yeah.
it's just that that's who they are.
Yeah, like everyone, even like her dad's weird.
Yeah.
Her stepmom's weird. The cop is weird. Her best friend, her boyfriend's weird. Like everyone is weird, but they're weird in a way like, oh, I've met this person before. Like this is a real person that you've met in your life weird.
And so even the stuff within the cult that's weird, it's like, but this is also cult stuff.
Yeah.
Like if you've seen any documentary about a cult, you've met every single one of these members in this documentary.
Yeah. Because there's like the varying degrees of like members within it. It's like, you know, you have the passive ones, you have the ones that are not like as good as things, so they put them in different things, and then you have the ones that are like more
like hardcore members.
Yeah, that like are willing to die and
die
kill
hard
for
believers.
You know, those types of things. And so like you get that kind of difference.
Yeah.
And then also the people who are obviously not part of the cult but like want to control others, so they're like head of everything, or you know.
I mean, they even pull back the curtain to show like inner circle, like the machinations of that and kind of the power struggles amongst
and, like,
those
you know,
people.
how like the power dynamic, like how the triangle of the guy at the top controls everyone underneath him, and it's so good.
But it's like they go into it, but they don't like focus on that for like 20 minutes or something. They reveal things very quickly, but like enough to like, wow, I'm really into this now.
Well, they actually kind of like really show like just a brief, I think especially with the realtor character, how I think one of the things that like maybe draws a lot of people to cults is the feeling of like not having an importance, or like not feeling a self-worth in your daily life, and then going to these cults and you're put in positions that you are felt worthy, and she was put in that. And then like towards the end couple of episodes you start to see stuff that like show that she's not who she is in terms of the cult. Like there's that one part when they're setting up for the podium and stuff, and she can't do most of the stuff, and she's getting you know, bossed around by people, and you kind of like see kind of like these little like ways that this cult is actually working to make these people believe what they believe.
And it's so fascinating because, you know, like cults prey on people who lack community and provide them with the sense of like belonging and the sense of, you know, like acceptance and belonging to something like bigger than themselves or whatever. And that and I feel like this like really demonstrated that really well. I
also thought it was interesting how they tied in the aliens with the cult. Like that was
I would be like really interested. Like every once in a while you'll see like a YouTube series and it's like X cult member, or like, you know, cult deprogrammer looks at shows and tells you like, oh, is this like an accurate? I would be really interested to like see one of those, because I saw one for what was the movie the movie about the girl whose boyfriend brings her into a cult. Midsummer, thank you. And he was like, this is exactly what cults are like. Like this like I was watching it, he was like a guy who like rescues and deprograms people from cults, and he was like, this is very accurate to like actual cults. So I'd be like interested to see someone like that, or like an ex-cult member being like, oh yeah, this is fucking like But it seemed very like there wasn't overt like violence towards most of the people in the cult. Like that's not, you know, it wasn't like
At least the ones
But
you didn't see. There was, like,
yeah, like that you
obviously
saw in
stuff, like,
public.
behind doors or,
Mhm.
like, the people who were kind of, like, probably forcibly, like,
Yeah.
given drugs and kept in, like, comatose states.
Mhm.
But
that's that was
you
always
didn't see.
only the diehard believers
Yeah.
were allowed to like see that.
Mhm.
So it was really well done.
And I think one of the things we didn't talk about, like, that's actually the major plot, like, through this entire thing is the friendship and the
Mhm.
reconciliation between the two female leads.
Yeah.
So, like, rekindling their friendship and the pursuit of making people believe stuff when you know it's true.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
and kind of, like,
And
not
everyone thinks you're
allowing,
crazy.
like,
Mhm.
people to bring you down when you're like, no, we really need to figure out what's going on. And you
Like,
see it with the main character, how she kind of, like, goes from trying to pretend like that's not all happening to finally
Mhm.
seeing it and believing what's going on and some of the things that are happening, because she's finally, like, reaching out for the answers.
Yeah.
I also want to say, I think the fact that the female leads being female, like gender plays I think, in my opinion, as far as the theme of people not wanting to like hear what they had to say about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as how this was like a female director, like,
Yeah.
I think there was a lot said there too, and the fact that those characters are female makes it
Yeah, and younger. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not like, they're our age technically,
Yeah.
but like younger females, I think, are the ones that are even more kind of prosecuting
Yeah.
this, where they're just not heard or believed in what happened, or, you know, they're trying to get across.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And
it said a lot about society without being too overt about stuff.
Mhm.
Like, it was always bits here and there, and what I had to say was always like really interesting.
mm, I really thought it was just absolutely I really absolutely excellent, and especially like when they, you know, when they showed them as like children, and then you see like how this like change, like this event of the main character being the inciting incident of her story is that she was obsessed with aliens and then was abducted, and they blamed it on the other girl forcing her to sniff glue or whatever, which never happened like that. But they basically, her parents gaslit her into believing, because she didn't remember what happened to her. So it sort of also had this a lot to say about like classism as well, like in
Mhm.
in society, where it's like, of course they're gonna blame the girl from the wrong side of the tracks for whatever.
And it was also
And
very clear that, like, Nana's character was more invested in it. So then it was like also like her being told at that young age again that she was weird
yeah,
by like the only person that she was having like a connection with. And so she was like losing that
yeah,
relationship.
because you got the sense that like her home life was bad
Mhm.
and no one really cared about her
Yeah.
and what she got up to.
She was like the
And then,
outcast at school and that sort of
yeah,
thing.
and so it was like, God, everything about this show is so good. So like their friendship, like, and where they are now in life, and how that incident like changed the directory that both of them took in life. It's just so fascinating, where one, her brain said, no, this didn't happen, block it out, and the other one said, I'm gonna find out what happened, I'm gonna spend the rest of my life, like, even if my one friend hates me now, I'm still gonna dedicate my life to figuring out what happened, even if she still hates me. And it's fascinating, like, it's so well done. And I was actually
There's
surprised.
a lot of ground for 10 episodes in my
Yeah.
like, it chugs along.
To be honest, I was very surprised when I realized it was written by a man, because I was like, this is a really good female friendship. Like, I feel like he's got a lot of female friends, this man.
It actually is, especially because
Like,
like they don't really focus on her relationship with the her ex-boyfriend that much, and the parents really only like kind of mention it in more of like a, these are your milestones to become an adult. It's not like even like they're like, we need you to get married. It's just like that, those are the check
That's
marks,
what you do.
just check the
That's what
box
you
on
do.
things that you do in life. Every time then when they were talking about the boyfriend, it was more of, she needed to find him because that's what you do as a good person, and so it never was like they were like, oh, you just want to get back with him, or you feel like sorry or whatever. Like it never really was that. And like the two never like focused in on that being a thing. Like it was never constant. Like and even with the like the cop who was like helping her, she didn't care about him. And then they kind of just didn't pursue it once like she was off with the other girl. It was just like they just didn't pursue it. And then they to the point where at the end you see that she doesn't get back together with her boyfriend.
No.
Like and they very amicably are like, you know what, we're not.
Yeah. What I really
do I remember right that they were kind of the cat co-parents?
Yes.
Oh,
was that like
I think they were
much...
going to do that, which is very weird because she didn't care about the cat.
She didn't give a shit about that cat. Okay, so what I sort of liked about like sort of riffing off of what Jessie was saying was I really enjoyed that it wasn't like her like desire to find him was not that like she still loved him, because she clearly, they were friendly, but she, like they even had like a scene where they have the most boring sex that she is clearly not, she's checked out of. Like, so like clearly the love wasn't there anymore, if it ever was, but she still cares about him as a person. And a lot of it was her growing frustration that she is the only one that cares about what happened to him. Like, and that no one will believe her when she's like, no, this isn't something he would do. Like, this is not, like, even if we broke up, he would not do this. This is wrong.
Yeah, because
and then the responses would usually be like, oh, you're saying that because you're the girlfriend or whatever.
You feel bad about what you did, like, and now you're trying to like,
trying to make yourself feel better.
The one, like, clearly who ended everything.
Yeah. And so I always felt like she didn't give a shit about that cat, but she still went and left food for it every day, because she's like, listen, like I don't hate this guy. Like, we didn't break up because I hated him or he was bad.
We still had a relationship. Like, I feel that's like also kind of what their relationship was. Like, they were just, they fit, but they didn't.
It was comfortable. Yeah.
Like not even comfortable. They were just like, they're both were the odd people, and they worked well together, and so it was kind of like
in order to fulfill those check boxes.
Yeah. And it wasn't even it was just kind of like, this is it, and it wasn't like malicious on anybody's part, or like it was just kind of
they weren't like using each other. It was kind of a mutual, it was like a mutual agreement essentially. That's what it felt like.
And it was just like, it was two people who, like, this is what was expected of us to do, like we were at the age where we should get married. Like,
am I also remembering right that the lead character, that she had like wanted to get married like much sooner, and that he had forced it back? Or was it her character, or was it both of them? I was trying to
I think it was sort of like both of them, like just sort of meandering through, and then
not
like
being ready.
Yeah. And just, just doing whatever, like doing their thing.
Because, like there's sometimes in dramas where it's very like the woman wanted to get married the first 6 years or something, and then just kind of gives up and is like, whatever. And then they eventually break up way later on and then the dude's finally coming around to it. And she's like, dude, you missed out like
the timing is wrong. The timing is wrong.
That's kind of a trope that happens quite often.
Like said you missed it a couple of years ago.
Like I told you a bazillion times and you didn't pick that up. So
yeah.
I was trying to remember if that was a part of it, but I guess
I don't think it was, because like she seemed pretty checked out of the.
Yeah, and I like her relationship, especially with her dad. I think more was like that the dad was just maybe kind of like thinking that like she just needed this guidance as opposed to it being as overbearing as it could be. Like he just like assumed like you can't pick up on these types of things, so like you should go do this and you should go do this, and kind of like obviously after watching the whole thing, navigating, knowing the background of how she was raised and the things like because it's pretty clear that he does know that like the incident did change her. So it's interesting in that respect too. I think that like the parents could have gone a completely different way, like the normal K-drama way or any parent way, but like they really didn't. And not to say that they ultimately didn't do what they needed for her to do, but they did within their kind of confines of what they knew and how they could handle something like that. Because they obviously took her to a psychologist when she was younger.
Yeah. Which, like, hey, in K-drama land, that's like rare.
Yeah.
Without death. Like, the only time that really ever happens is when death is.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I think a lot of people, most of their problems will be solved by go into therapy, and like actual good therapy, not garbage therapy that I'm sure there's many sketchy therapists in Korea. Like,
well, it's just also kind of comical. So we recently watched a New Year's movie, and
it was delightful.
It was a Love Actually adjacent type thought. And but there was one couple that were suicidal, and
and you're just like,
and you know, as far as the instigation of this relationship, you're like, this is all bad. You guys just need to like, you can kiss on the cheek and go to therapy. Like,
you need a good psychologist. But it was a cute movie. It's called Year-End Medley. It was,
but the whole time you're
really
like,
cute.
Don't just get in a relationship. Go to
therapy. Just like a brief Year-End Medley. Kang Han-nol at his Kang Han-noliest. Okay? Like, if Kang Han-nol, he's an expert at playing the saddest sax you've ever seen. Like, imagine the dumbest, most pathetic character and then keep going. And that's like Kang Han-nol's his wheelhouse. That's what he's born to play. And this was his opus. Okay?
And he needed to go to therapy.
He did. It also had
everyone, like
everyone.
That's like a whole other thing. Like that movie was wild.
I was just mentioning, but even when even sometimes it's like, oh, cute. No, you need to go to therapy. Like,
no, you are mentally ill. You have trauma that you need to deal with. Which could essentially be almost any character in Glitch.
Oh yeah,
you have trauma that
every single person, not a single person.
With. Like some of it's leading you to be a literal criminal, and others you're a little kooky. But y'all have got it. Like, it's got all. We've got the one guy, the kid with the mommy issues. We got in the UFO club, we got the just. Actually, you know what? You know who doesn't seem to need any?
Talk about Captain Prince.
Captain Prince seems pretty well adjusted, if you ask me. He seems like the one with his head screwed on straight.
So it's obvious that we would recommend
absolutely
drama, but like who would be like into this drama?
Okay, so I don't think I would recommend it to anyone who doesn't like slow or boring. It is definitely got that flavor.
It's a slow burn of a drama.
Yeah.
Do we want to reference right here? Do we want to maybe read off what Amanda had to say?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So
we do have some thoughts.
And Amanda had some thoughts, and even though
Amanda had some thoughts, she says that she probably wouldn't have made it past the first episode if Sky hadn't told her it picked up. She just thought it was too slow for her. And that it reminds her of a Dean Koontz novel called One Door Away from Heaven. Never read it, but
it's the one I have read, and yes. But Glitch is way better.
English is way better. She also said that this should have been a lesbian romance drama. Not arguing with that.
Yeah, I'm not
You
gonna
know
argue
what?
with that.
I'm not gonna argue with that.
It was also
Although-
nice to have it not.
Yeah, like
You know,
no
to have no
romance.
romance.
We didn't need
But like
romance.
if they had chosen to put romance in it, there was
Yeah,
only
one
one
option.
couple that there was only one option for the romance, if so, and that would be the main two characters. But unnecessary, and I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah.
And that was based, and her favorite character was Captain Prince. He's the best, y'all. He's so good.
Well, honestly,
He's
the whole
so good.
UFO club was like fun.
So
Yeah.
perfect.
And I don't want to make it sound like they were only like at the bar type situation meeting sometimes. Like they actually
But
went
they're-
and helped near the end.
Yeah,
like,
they're a large part of the show. They appear
Yeah, they
a lot of the
Yeah.
show. They're there infiltrating
they
shit.
risk
They're
getting hurt
Yeah.
numerous times.
the lead
um,
characters wouldn't have been able to do what they ended up doing without
And they
them.
and they did it in a way that was like always supporting them. They never tried to
Yeah.
like overshadow
Take
them or
over.
take over what they were doing. They were like, you know what you're doing. We will be here as your backup support.
It's like real
Okay.
power of friendship
Mhm.
shit, and I love
Yeah.
it.
real power friendship, but like also again the gender like
They
Yeah.
listen.
listening
Your
to their
gender didn't matter
girlfriend-
to them.
right.
The truth
But,
was
like-
out there. And gender politics in modern day Korea is not important
Well,
when aliens exist. you
But my
know?
whole point is they never tried to like run the show or
No.
tell them they were wrong. Like, I mean, what magical universe are all these guys living in?
I know. Ugh. Please, more of the. And it's so funny that we're like,
Especially a niche group like that.
yeah, the
Ooh.
perfect men, the weird UFO
Chronically
fan,
online.
the chronically online UFO fanboys. Ooh, Jeremy, a
Oh,
swoon.
so
Like
Yeah,
that's
I guess
fellas, that's how low the bar has gotten. Okay, it is on the floor.
I will say, if you're looking for really supportive dude friends, don't think that this necessarily works in real life.
No,
Just go to a UFO discussion board or in-person meet and think you're going to meet really good dudes.
no. 'Cause, listen, no offense. There's very nice UFO groups out there and like really nice UFO dudes, but I've met quite a few.
There's always people. There's always
And
the ones.
And dudes usually are the dudiest. So
yeah,
like,
and I just have a question for these dudes that are the dudiest. Have you like? It's you can wear deodorant. It's okay. Like, listen, we want to talk about UFOs with you, but you make it difficult in many ways. From head to toe, if you know what I mean. Same like listen, just put down the 5-in-1 shampoo, get separate things, you know. I'm telling you, minimal effort. And women will want to talk about your special interest with you. I promise. I promise you. Oh, and this is from someone who was played D&D, loved anime, loved board games, listened to J-pop in high school. Like, let me tell you, minimal effort will get you a long way. Like, it's just sort of derail talk about dudes. Every time I see someone who's like, oh, women don't actually like nerdy guys, women don't actually like big guys, I'm just like, no, women don't like you.
There's a difference.
There's a difference. Like, you suck. Not because of how you look or what you're interested in. You have a bad personality. If you have a good personality, women will like you. And
You also won't like think that you owe these people like
yeah, like don't if a woman's nice to you, that's not flirting.
that's just being
It's
nice.
just her being nice, because guess what? Women are nice to each other. That's how they form this little thing called friendship. And
They're kind of into it.
listen, if you just want to know How to Talk to Women. Just watch Glitch. And
just follow the ways of Captain Prince.
Just follow Captain Prince. Just be like Captain Prince. He's respectful. He's giving them free coffee. He's having this fun little space. He's beating the shit out of commandos who show up to kidnap them. He's on it, okay? But never assuming that they need him to beat up these guys.
And
he's
is he sitting there having a crush on anybody or like wanting to
trying
to
get them? No,
he's just being there.
Like we all have the common interest, and that's what we're gonna do.
Like, if anyone, him and the dude who you would expect to be into UFOs had the most chemistry out of that male group. Like, the love was there.
So who else do we recommend this to? So we were saying it is a slow burn.
I think if you're not into slow things, I think you're not going to like it because it's pretty consistent with throughout. Like I really do even think in the like last couple of episodes there are like some really slow times. Yeah. So I don't think it's going to be something where like, you know, like it gets up. I mean, like it does go someplace, but it never leaves that kind of slow area.
Yeah. It's pensive, I think is how I describe it. Yeah.
I mean, I watched it in a couple of sittings. Like I
literally watched it last.
I watched it. Yeah, we watched it in one day.
There was I had some food, and that's about
it. Yeah, I got up to pee a few times
because I did. To me, what definitely kept me watching quickly was I was curious what was going to happen. Yeah. So like, even though it is a pensive thing, it still is like, hey, what's up? Like, I want to know what else happens.
Definitely wouldn't recommend it to my mom. This is like my barometer. Like, I don't think she'd appreciate the subtle intricacies. If you're like really here for the K-drama rom-coms, it's probably not your thing.
No. If you're into like a thriller, like it does have some really good thriller parts.
If you loved the X-Files.
Yes. Specifically, if you really like The Lone Gunman, this series felt like in the X-Files, there are times, especially in the like later seasons, where they start to do kind of like breakaway episodes where they focus on different characters. If you've never seen the X-Files, which why?
It's okay, Sky, we understand. Why? We understand. Sky, we understand, okay?
The general
I'm gonna work on that sometime.
Yeah.
Listen, we know, Sky. We know. We understand.
So why?
We understand.
But like, okay, so like there's like the whole like alien thing, and then there's the alien thing with the government, and then there's just like standalone like monster of the week type things.
Yeah.
And so like when you get into like the later seasons, they start to focus on those like extra characters, and they kind of do like backstory character like things on it. So it's like literally like it could be about them like 30 years before, like when they're younger and stuff. And a lot of this drama felt like one of those episodes, and it had the quirkiness and the wackiness that The Lone Gunman specifically kind of like give to the X-Files, because the X-Files does have like the comedy bits to it too. It kind of like works in the same way as Glitch, where like sometimes you can get like straight up horror and straight up thriller, but also have these like comedic bits. And I think that like if you're into The Lone Gunman, which is the three guys that Mulder knows who are like UFO, like they are like UFOologists in the like that club when they were younger, and now they've like kind of advanced to like even more deep diving into like government conspiracy and constantly on the news and like figuring out things. I really do think that you would like it, because I personally I would not believe you if you told me that the writer didn't have some influence.
Some fan of X-Files in some part.
So as somebody who hasn't watched X-Files at all yet, sorry.
It's okay. Listen, we understand.
It's just my favorite show of all time, so I'm going to be defensive.
And I'm not necessarily a huge like cult show enthusiast as much as Jessie and Natalia is. Like that's not something that cult show, I'm gonna go watch it. Like that's not typically necessarily what I'm going for.
There's the cult in the tag. You bet you know I'm there.
Like... But so I want to say, as somebody who doesn't like search for those things, but I do like sci-fi too a lot. So I really, like I found it really enjoyable, and the cult stuff was not save me level at all from what I've heard.
No.
Like, so like
this is
when
nothing.
we say cult, I don't want you to think that it's super scary. You're holding your breath the entire time. It is not. So like, I think it's actually a really easy watch in that sense. So I don't think that
except
the cult
for like
stuff
when
is
you see
terrifying.
like some of the like this is where that trigger warning comes in with the like the formation of the cult happens with like a mass suicide, and so you see like that happen because the girl who's like the girl from Extraordinary or whatever it's called extracurricular, she was the one who she walked in because a little girl sees these people having hung themselves, except for that part. Like the cult is very light almost, like that's a lot of where the like humor wackiness kind of plays in.
So I think it has a broader appeal. Like if the cult stuff had been super, super, super dark, only certain people would be able to like watch that whole thing. And so I think that the lightness of that, like, I wasn't squicked out ever. And I mean, the past few years I've been I'm able to watch more of that type of stuff, darker stuff than I used to. But I think that Glitch as a whole, I think it's a doable watch for, I'm not saying almost anybody, but I think I think most people wouldn't have to necessarily tap out unless they just get bored. If they don't like that pacing that you mentioned. I don't think it's super dark.
I think the thriller parts are like when the glitches happen. Like that first time she glitches, that's like a really impactful when she goes out of the restaurant. Like that whole scene was, I think, the most you see. And that's like first episode. Yeah. So
like that.
I think if you can handle that, then you'll be fine with the rest of the show.
And then essentially, if you can handle like light thriller, you're going to be fine. It's not even like hard thriller. It's like light end of thriller. Because I do go for those types of shows. So I do think that people who are into just light thriller things and kind of mystery, and even if you haven't watched a cult show, they're going to be fine. Like you don't have to be familiar with that stuff at all. Like they lay it all out. It's not confusing.
I mean, if you like Aliens, it does reference a lot of things that are like, what if you even kind of remotely know anything about alien abductions, what they're saying in the show is like what's researched and studied, and it's pretty spot on to like the things that happen to people when they're abducted and that sort of thing. It's like believable in that they did do some research in like what abductees or just kind of like what our world is talking about aliens.
And it all felt very realistic, like real world stuff in that sense. It didn't feel in an alternate universe where aliens are real. Like it was just realistic.
It was like no, this the truth is out there.
And they're pursuing it the entire time.
I want to believe. They want to believe. No, it was excellent. 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up from old Natalia.
I really, really recommend it. Like I was super engaged the whole time, and I'm not even a huge cult show enthusiast necessarily, but I thought it was really fun.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
And we will be doing a little extra tidbit on our Patreon.
So if you are a Patreon member, well, hold on to your butts, because if you go over to Patreon right now, there will be a fun little extra content,
a little treat,
a little Nunas After Dark, which if you're familiar with the Nunas After Dark format, you may know what's coming. So anyway, thank you for listening to us wax poetic about the fantastic, not really sci-fi, but kind of sci-fi drama that is Glitch, which is on Netflix. You can watch it all right now. Anyway, thank you for listening to us. If wherever you're listening to us, if you want to listen to us somewhere else, we are wherever podcasts can be found. And also all of our episodes are up on our YouTube channel that you should go subscribe to, because we also do live streams and have a good time. And of course, if you want time codes and links to everything we talk about, you have to go to our website, certifiednunas.com, where all of that resides. If you want to support this podcast and maybe listen to a little Nunas After Dark every once in a while, you can go to patreon.com/certifiednunas, the home of our found family on the web. They're the people who support this podcast monetarily, and we just think they're the absolute bee's knees, as it were. Also, we have a Discord that is super fun, and if you would like to join, it is completely free and delightful and full of cool people. So all those links will be on our website, certifiednews.com, if you want to come join any of those. Anyway, we hope you have a fantastic week after holidays, and we knew it was coming. Respiratory illnesses, they're on the rise. So please wear a mask, wash your hands, and as always, keep enjoying Asian entertainment. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.